Welcome back to another episode of With the Waves. I'm your host, Gian Abdallah, and I'm going to be talking to you about all things love, joy, delusion, all that jazz. So basically, this episode is going to be is going to be dropped a week after Valentine's Day, about like a couple days after Valentine's Day. So I thought, might as well make it about love. Like, might as well make it about just like growing up. You know, speaking about how I have never been in a relationship. I've never, felt that type of like romantic relationship. But like growing up, I've also realized like I have love from all aspects of my life. And I think that's what's helped me like kind of be like, I don't really need a boyfriend. And also at the same time, like the independence is valid, but also I don't know. Basically, I don't know what it feels like to have a relationship. So the independence that I do have is like amazing. But obviously, who knows, with the right person, obviously the relationship's going to be amazing. But let's get right into it. So the first topic of business is I wanted to bring up, which is a funny story. So I went to a wedding this past weekend, and these people I haven't seen in quite a bit. Like I'm obviously like I know them and they're like great people, but I go to this wedding that I haven't seen these people in like 5+ years, maybe more, maybe less. And I'm obviously 22. I look pretty good. And I'm like being asked, they're like, hey, how old are you? Like, are you looking for someone? And I'm like, whoa. I was like, there's no way I'm actually being asked. Like, I've never thought this day would come. Like, usually people are like, oh, like your daughters are so, like, growing up in an Arab culture, like it is different. Like, you don't understand, like the people, and I don't mind it. Like, they will arrange a marriage, and not in a bad way, but in more so a sense like, hey, I have a son for you. And I'm down with that, especially in this day and age, because who knows when I will be getting a man, because it's not going to happen through Hinge. It's not going to happen through Tinder. And majority of the time when I ask people where they've met their significant other, they're like Tinder, Hinge, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh my God, I just cannot open the app and go on a date with someone. It's like every time I try, we text for so long. And then when I try to like be like, hey, let's go out, nothing. So I'm like, okay, that's never going to happen. And I don't find myself finding someone on Hinge or on those dating apps. Maybe I will, who knows? But as of right now, it's not my cup of tea. So the moral of the story is I'm getting older and relationships are getting quite serious. So when you're thinking of like, when I see these guys and like just see people where I'm like, oh, like back in the day when I was 18, I would be like, oh, I could date them. Like, oh, like that's cute. Like he's cute. He has these couple characteristics that I like. That's nice. I think I should still be thinking that way, because like who knows how a relationship can turn out. But my thought process now is that even though 22 is so young, I literally look at a man and I'm like, okay, this is serious. Like, we're 22. Like, people are getting engaged, which it's not my life. Like, you should never be like looking at other people's lives and being like, oh my God, they're getting get married, they're getting engaged, like they're getting pregnant, like I'm behind. That's not the case. Simply because that is not where I want to see my life. Obviously, if I wanted to be a mother, I would feel like I'm behind. But since that's simply like the last thing on my list. I am good with kids though, like please, but it's more so the fact that like I just don't want to be a mother. So when like I'm looking at like when I did like where do I see myself in 5 years, like there were so many things ahead of it that I was like, kids was like it actually wasn't on the list, sadly. Like, respectfully, I'm still a kid, like genuinely. So when I look at people and look at these relationships, I'm like, okay, now I need to see like, oh, what does he do for a living? What is like his passions? What X, Y, and Z? Instead of just being like, oh, he's sweet, he's funny, he's nice. Bare minimum. He better be nice, sweet, and kind. Or sorry, nice, sweet, and funny. We're not in 3rd grade anymore. You should not be like saying, oh, when I see those videos when they're describing like, oh my God, what's your favorite thing about your husband or your girlfriend, significant other, and they're like, he makes me laugh, and I'm like, that's all? You guys been together for 3 years and that's all? It's like those street interviews. That's just my input and that's my opinion. But I hope if my man was ever asked, what is your opinion on, or what's your favorite thing about your girl, and it's like the way that she makes me laugh, and it's not some soul crushing like phrase instead, I've done something wrong. But anyways, enough with the men, enough with the gentlemen. Um, as I like surpassed Valentine's Day this year, I kind of was like feeling like usually I'm like like ew men like da da da, because obviously like not being able to experience that is like so annoying. Obviously, like I thought to myself, I was like, one year I was like so annoyed with the fact that like I'm like, what even is Valentine's Day? Why do we celebrate it? What, like, who, where did it start? And I know it was a saint, like Saint Valentine, but I was like, why? Like, who? I'm like, what is his importance? Simply because I just never understood why it became like, I'm like, to my, like when I was working at the restaurant this past week, I was like, it's just a corporate holiday that everyone has to go out for, like blah blah blah, to spend money. Like the average, literally I was watching the news in local America, or local Arizona, the average person spends about $200 on Valentine's Day. Excuse me, that's a lot. But anyways, so then I was like, okay, let's look it up. The reason it started was because Saint Valentine was going against the government, or whoever was the ruler of the time. I don't know exact. He basically went against and was marrying people that were like not supposed to be married to each other, obviously, because they had those contracts and like everyone was marrying for this, that, and the other. But people just wanted to marry, and obviously the ruler was like, that's not happening. And he was like, no, they love each other. Like, love is love. Boom. And then he passes, and then it becomes like a weird little like festival where they like kill animals and stuff like that. And it was like really weird. It was like some type of like, and it was like some type of killing with the animals and the people. And then that stopped. Then it became the modern day Valentine's Day in like the 14th and 15th century, where they just like celebrated loved ones and stuff like that, which I find so interesting. And so anyways, as I was growing up 15, 16 years old, I was like, ew, Valentine's Day, blah, blah, blah. But then as I grow older, I'm like, there's love everywhere. Like simply in my friendships, my siblings, and my family, there's just like love to give. And so I was like thinking to myself, I was like, okay, this year, well, in previous years, I'm like, I've never not, like, I've honestly, all these years growing up, like my mother always got us gifts for Valentine's Day. So I never felt like out of the loop of anything. Like I never felt like, oh my God, like I want a Valentine's Day gift. Like literally every Valentine's Day I walk out of my room, and like in the kitchen table, there's like Valentine's Day gifts for everyone. And then like little balloons, heart balloons, and like flowers. Like I've never been like, oh my God, like I actually enjoyed Valentine's Day because I always expected like a gift from my mother, you know? But anyway, so then this year when it came around, I was like excited. I was like, oh my gosh, like can't wait to see like people like how they share their love for each other. And like, I don't know, instead of like loathing the idea of it, I was super excited for it. And I even went to Trader Joe's and got flowers and like wrote letters for everyone. And if you know me, you know I'm not a heartfelt person. So I was like, let me speak from the heart and let me get these people flowers that I think fit their vibe. And then I wrote them a letter about how I feel about them, my family, obviously. And they were like, well, a lot of them were lovey-dovey, but I was just like, I don't know. I think personally, like, I don't tell people what I want for things, because like, if they get me something, it's because they like thought about it, and they like maybe thought about me while buying the gift, instead of like, for example, like for holidays, like we'll just be like, oh mom, like we want this, we want that, like, or like if people ask like what we want for gifts, like they'll be like, oh, what do you want? And I'm like, I don't want anything, like I have everything I need, but like if you feel like you need to get me something, like just like whenever people get something from the heart, or if it's like not even like if they make the gift too, I'm like obsessed. Like majority of the time when people make me gifts, it's like my favorite, instead of like buying me something. Because like realistically, like this past Christmas when like my family was like trading gifts and stuff, I was like, you can get me whatever you want. And so then I would get like stuff that I wanted, obviously, like that I like wanted for myself, so I bought them. But then my siblings, like when they got me gifts, they looked on my Pinterest boards, they like felt the vibes out, and they're like, I feel like you would like this. And I did, and it was so fun and great that way. I don't know, just the idea of like being loved is being known, like that's my favorite part, is like they really thought out about the gifts, instead of like, that's a whole, I totally took this down like another pathway, but whatever. And so then that was my thought about that. But going back, especially in like my work, I've been feeling like I really enjoy like couples photography, and it's like my favorite thing, seeing like couples like love each other and like photographing it. And like now I'm like editing a couple people's, and I'm like so excited to like post them because they are like so cute. And I really want to get into that. And everyone's been telling me like get into wedding photography, but I'm like, valid, I definitely need to get into that, but I need to like, I think a thought process about Valentine's Day is like, when you're younger, or like even now, like a lot of people think it's about couples. Like people think like, oh, you can't celebrate it because it's Valentine's Day. Like this is for like if you're in a relationship. Like people be posting on Instagram like my Valentine, my forever, like all that jazz. But I'm like, Valentine's Day is literally about loving one another, like love. So that's my thought process of Valentine's Day. So what I do is I like literally, thank God I had the day off. Praise the Lord. Even if I didn't have the day off from work, I would have probably gotten up, gotten coffee, which I did, read a book, which is not like I need to give back that book. I found it at my work, and it's like weird. Anyways, and then I was like, let me go get flowers, let me just go shopping a little bit. And it was a great day. I did what I love, and I felt good. So like, main point is that you need to start doing what makes you feel good and what you love to do to then have everlasting happiness. My thought process, like going into that, is I kind of wanted to bring that up because sometimes we forget that like such minimal things can bring us happiness, and like doing what you love can bring you happiness. And sometimes doing what you love is like not favored by others, but it's like what you love to do. And so if that's what makes you happy, go for it. And we kind of tend to forget that like it's our life and we get to live our life, but we have the fear of judgment from others that can make us deter ourselves from like doing something that we love. Like for example, like there's so many things that I love and I get in my head about thinking like, oh, what are people gonna think? Who cares what people think? Like in my head I'm like, oh my God, there's people in my life that I'm like, I don't want them to like see this and judge me. Okay, you know what, I'm finna block them on Instagram. I'm done speaking like thinking that they're gonna judge me, and if so, like you're not on my Instagram. Like especially because like I'm very much into social media and podcasting, and like just if you look up my name, I'm out there. I'm literally out there. I got all my media stuff literally out there. So, and I don't have a very basic name, so when you look me up, I'm most likely the first one to pull up. And if you put like the city I live in, like I'm out there. It's public information. And so I think recently I've just been in my head like trying to figure out like, okay, what are small things I enjoy? Like what are things that I could do that like could pick me up and like not make me like, you know, just make me enjoy my life living in Chandler. And I was like, okay, photography, podcasting, shopping, I've been really into thrifting lately, like really into thrifting. Like every time I have free time, I'm like, let's go to a new thrift store. Like I'm just obsessed. Especially in finding like fun little unique like things. Like vintage too. Like oh my God, there's this like my sister's charity has so much good like they had Christian Dior, they had Prada, which was super cool. Like I was like, oh my God, and it was so fun. But anyways, I guess going back to speaking about relationships romantically, there was this one movie that I watched, and it was like a really chill movie. It's small. It's on Tubi, and it's called, or it's on Amazon Prime, I'm not sure which one, but it's called Stay the Night. And it's literally with this like hockey player and this girl who's like part of corporate America, and she's just like has the same strict, like she goes to bed by 8 a.m, wakes up early, goes to sleep. Like she has a strict routine. And then this one night her friend was like, oh, you always stay in, you're so like go out, change your life, have fun. So obviously she can't go to bed, and then she gets up and goes to the bar that her friend's at, and her friend like leaves her. And so then she gets in like this little debacle with this guy, and he basically like they spend the night together, but like not in bed. Like they spend the night like overnight in the city, like literally just experiencing each other. And then at the end of the night, it's like a whole thing. You need to watch it. It's so good. But the moral of the story is like I really like sided with this girl, because like she feels like she's behind when it comes to her like relationships romantically, because she was just so focused on school and then work and then success, and like getting to a certain point that like she let herself go in those aspects of life that like when it comes to meeting people she doesn't really know how to, and she feels like a sort of rejection when it comes to like trying to branch out to other people. And so this like one night with this guy literally just like changed her life. It was very cute in the sense of like, it was very basic, but like it was really cute in the sense of like at the end of the movie, like it had its own ending. Like you could be like, okay, like do they stay together? Like it's really good. And I was just thinking, like, I found a similarity with how she is like literally 28. Well, I'm not, but 28. And like, this guy's like, what? You've never been in a relationship. You've never done this. You've never done that. Like, you need to. Da-da. And she's like, well, what happened? Like, why do I need to do it at this age? Like, why do I need to have everything figured out by this time? And I really took a deep dive into that movie, because I was like, I really felt a connection to it. So if you're ever free and you want a movie to watch, low-key, it's on a rom-com. It could be just a romance movie. That movie is so good. Stay the night. And I don't think it helps that, like, every time I'm around someone, or if people want to, like, get to know me, I, like, am not, like, flirtatious. Like, I literally, like, go in for a dab up. Like, if you know me, you know that I genuinely just, like, am very, like, friendly, but not in, like, a friendly way. Like, literally, like, I'll be like, yo, what's good? Like, dab up type of shit, because there's, like, it sets a boundary. And I think I'm just scared of crossing that boundary so quickly. Like, back it the fuck up. Like, I don't want no man up in my business. Like, oh my God, this one time literally happened Super Bowl Sunday. I was at the bar. Hands are crossed. Like, I hadn't initiated no sense. I guess saying hello, like him saying hello and me saying hi back, like, allowed him to fucking step into my fucking bubble. So basically what happened was, I'm at the bar watching the game. I'm standing up, and he comes up to me and he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Who are you? And I go, hi. And again, my vibe was not good. Like, it was like, hello, like, hi, thank you for just, like, not saying hello back, like, what? And he goes, can I guess your ethnicity? And I go, sure. He goes, Mexican. I go, no. Native? I go, no. He goes, okay, let me guess. And I go, he was like, can you give me a region? And I'm like, the fact that I was even, like, involving myself in this man is crazy. But he was like, I can guess by your eyebrows. I go, pardon? Sorry, what? And so he goes, are you Middle Eastern? I go, yeah, I am. And he goes, are you Egyptian or Palestinian? And I was like, oh, that's actually new. I've never gotten that before. But yeah, I'm Palestinian. Like, thanks for guessing correctly. And he's like, yeah, it's because, like, I have a lot of friends from there. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he was like, are you interested to know where I'm from? And I'm like, no. I was like, are you Somalian? Like, because that's what he looked like. And he was like, no. I don't even know where he said he was from, but he was like, because I just didn't care. And so I was like, okay, well, it was nice. And then he comes up, like, literally puts his arm around me and sniffs my hair. Please tell me, if you were ever in this situation, it's never right. Like, I don't care how drunk you are. We were at a bar watching the game. I guess it could have entailed. No, I'm not giving an excuse. What makes you think you could put your arm around someone you just met 5 seconds ago and sniff their hair and be like, you smell good? Love the compliment. Hate the way that you complimented me. Get your fucking hands off me. I was so scared. I literally, when he sniffed me, I looked over to my friends and they were like, and I was like, no way did I let that happen. And so I went from, like, putting my hands, like, crossed to, like, literally, like, hand on hips trying to push him away. And he was like, damn, okay, I guess you're not interested. I go, no, okay, bye. And, like, gave him a handshake, which I shouldn't have even given in the first place. He goes, no way you're going to give me a handshake. Give me a hug. I said, oh my God, this is why I'm not interested in men. Like, well, no, I am interested in men. But the fact that they just, like, think they have the authority to just be in people's space, like, get out of here. Like, simply, I was taken aback. I was like, I gotta go home. Is the game almost done? Like, this is ridiculous. Not only did that happen, another man came up to me too. I was like, it'd be the ugliest man that have the most confidence, for real. But he was actually, one of them was actually cute. But I was just like, I was actually done with that. I was like, I do not want to talk to anybody. I just want to go. Like, it was people thinking they had the authority to just pull up and sit, or pull up and just sniff my hair. Like, I had no respect after that. I was like, I feel not good. And so anyways, as you know, we're talking about Valentine's Day, I was like, okay, maybe, like, I was, like, thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, like, being in a relationship would be nice. Like, that's obviously everyone would love to be in a relationship and be loved by a significant other. Like, a romantic relationship is such a different type of love. Like, don't get me wrong though, it could be mistreated a little bit. Like, people may mistake in love for lust, and that's my worst fear, is, like, I don't want no one to be looking at me and be like, oh, like, I love her, but really it's just it's a form of, like, physical love instead of like soul crushing love. Like I need that love from someone. Like I literally need, like, that's like, maybe I've watched too many romance movies in my day, but like if it ain't like that, it ain't real. The reason there's romance movies is because people thought about it and people actually act like that. So I'm not oblivious, or I'm not crazy for thinking I could have that type of love story. Anyways, I digress. Going into my next topic is so basically saying that I was like, for Valentine's Day, I'm actually really invested in myself right now, and like I love being single. Like the idea of just like having my own, I guess you could have your own schedule and routine when you're in a relationship, but just the idea of like literally being able to do whatever I want, and like maybe having to tell my mom here and there, but like because at the end of the day, when you're in a relationship with them, like it'll all make, like it wouldn't feel like a hassle to spend time with them, but I actually like really enjoy my alone time, like to the point where literally I only see my best friends like my best friend who lives in Arizona like every 2 weeks. Like I don't be seeing her but that's also because we have a different schedule, but that's the case. Like I want to be home in bed by 10:30. Like so some days that I do stay out and like we're hanging out till 2 a.m. because I love them obviously, but I'm just like, I don't know if I could ever lose my sleep for a man. But also at this age, like I'm 22, which is still so young, but at this age, like you have to think, I'm not where I want to be at in life. I'm not where I want to be mentally and physically. I'm not where I want to be like financially. And so thinking, I guess like I just think it's so serious, like being in a relationship right now is so serious that like I can't have it until I fill my own cup. And so that's why I'm very standoffish. I'm like, I guess like month I have been being like, okay, maybe it's like the holiday like fucking thoughts, but I'm like, okay, realistically, like would I love to be that aunt that is abroad and everyone just comes visits me? Like I would love to be that girl. But at the same time, I'm like, once I don't have my parents, it is going to be a little lonely, and that's where I see the importance of a family and like starting one. Oh my god, that's so scary to think about, like me with kids. No, everyone thinks I'm gonna get married first. It's so funny. If the ring fits, shoddy. No, I'm just fine. But realistically, like everyone's like, oh, like Gianna, you don't want to date someone or marry someone so bad that you're literally gonna be the first one to marry. And I'm like, you're valid, I might. But anyways, going back, I want my cup to feel, I know there's the idea of like helping each other fill your cups to then being able to like overflow each other's cups, and like I do think that is a way that most relationships work out, and like they are supposed to help you grow. But I don't know, the idea, I need to have myself like fully like filled to the top. Like I need that extra large cup filled to the top so then they can overflow that, because what did Cher say? Men are dessert, or what is it? No, yeah, men are dessert. It's not a need, it's a want. Ooh, clocked it. But I do have respect for my men listeners. This is an episode for the female listeners though, because you know, I don't really know what it feels like to love as a man simply because I am a female, but I digress. But going back about like how I want to like fill my own cup, it's like obviously I want to, this year I was making my board for like what I want my year to look like, and I was like, obviously there was like a couple in there. Actually, it was like underneath the picture, because I was like, if it doesn't happen, I don't care. But I do want to like go on more dates so that I know what I want. Like that's the idea, is like it doesn't have to be scary. It's not scary. Literally, it's another human being, but it's a man, and I will choose the bear every time. Just kidding. But I do want to say that I would just like to go on more dates this year, because I want to feel like I just want to have fun and like go, like I just want to like know what it feels like to go on dates. But in that case, I would then need to go on apps, and I hate apps. Like I want people to just be like, hey, set you up with a friend. I would eat that up. Oh my god, actually the other day I was calling at my restaurant for like reservations, and I was like, hi, like I just wanted to know if I could confirm this reservation, whatever. And what answers is like a machine, and it's like, hi, this is matchmaking.com. If you would like to call or be matched, press 1. If you would like to do all these things. And I was like, am I tweaking? So then I remember making that call, and I was like, whatever, I can't answer. It's like every time I call it was being weird. But then when I like 3 days later, they come in and this guy goes, I don't know what this girl looks like. I go, huh? And then I look at the reservation. I'm like, oh my God, you're the people that I called. And it was being so weird. That is so cool. Okay. So then I sit him down. But then he's being a fucking bitch. I was so done. I was like, he wasn't being weird. He was just being annoying. He's like, could you give me a good table? I want to impress her. I'm like, get out of my face. I don't care. Like, the fact that it was made under an Amanda, like, none of their names were used. It was like this weird girl that was using it. It was a whole thing. But I was like, oh my God, like, there's such things where it's like blind dating. I don't know. I guess I knew that was a thing, but like matchmaking.com. I actually need to look into it. I'll look at the exact, like, I'll call it again. But it was like a phone number, and I literally, like, it was insane. I was like, is this like for real? Is this like a company, or was this like a girl that like just set it up and like it's become a thing now? But anyways, going back to like the idea of dating, it's like I haven't had a genuine crush in like 3 years. Like maybe freshman year of college, I was like thinking someone was really cute, and every time I saw him I got like a little flutters. But other than that, like I haven't had a crush on someone in like literal years. The reason for that is because, let's just say, every time I chose to hang out with a man, I would get sick. So I choose to not. And I still get sick without a man either way. I don't know. But then, like, I genuinely am not even afraid of like rejection when it comes to a man, because growing up in a predominantly white area, I was always like, I guess not rejected, but I was never like looked at as the first choice. So when people would like come up to me, I'm like, or no, when people come up to me, I'm like very like stunned. I'm like, hey, and that sounds so bad to you. Like, I don't like that comment, how I made it, but I'm just saying, like, when people used to come at me back in like college for the first time, I'd be like, are you joking? Like, do you want one? Like, I always just thought, like, I had no confidence. I was super insecure. I always thought like people were like, oh, like, can I talk to you, blah, blah, blah. And then they'd go to my friends. Like, that's how like insecure I was about myself. And now obviously I'm not, but the people that come up to me, I'm like, y'all are so confident, and not in a good way. Like, get out of my face. But going back, it's like I was going to talk about how rejection is like what makes me kind of like scared about a man. But I'm like, the worst thing they could say is no. And simply, I would be okay with that. Like, we're decent human beings. We're like, saying no and is a good thing. Like, it's okay. I will leave you with this. There's love everywhere. There's love in yourself. There's love in the hobbies that you have. There's love from your family. There's love from your friends. There's always love around you. And whenever romantic love comes your way, that is where it gets fun, obviously. I want to leave you with this. There's love everywhere. There's platonic love. There's, the love that comes from your friends, family, your hobbies, yourself. Like, that is when love is most important. Obviously, the romantic love is a plus for sure. Like, when you find your person, it is the best. But we can't forget that just because you're not in a relationship, you can't be loved. And I used to think that a lot growing up. Like, literally the idea of being loved is like, I was like, oh my God, no one wants to be in a relationship with me. Like, I was just like, so like, I thought that was the main reason. Like, I just always thought that like being loved romantically was more important than like all the people that love me like this. And thank God I got out of that bubble, because respectfully, I'm so happy that I've been able to be like, yeah, like I have love all around me, my family, my friends, and it is great. And when I finally found love within myself, it was even better. So I hope you guys, one day in your life, are so in love with yourself that nothing around you can withstand negativity. I want you all to be able to realize your self-worth and make you understand that, you know what, this life is my life and it's worth living because I love myself, and not because a man needs to love me, or another person, a significant other, a homegirl, if you're going that way, you know what I'm saying? But my thought process is, at the end of the day, it's nice. So life isn't that serious. So do what you want. And respectfully, I've been having that input. Like, I'm like, every time I go out now, I'm like, let's have fun, But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Again, I'm your host, Jan Abdallah, and I do want to let you all know that this podcast is for a reminder just that life is happening and there's no direct path. You're just having fun. So you never know what to expect from life or this podcast. If you like this episode, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share with people so that this could go maybe somewhere or nowhere at all. And it just is a video that you guys can come back to and enjoy. So with that being said, have a great day and go with the waves.